This is Radha Sura Nidhi class, first class of Kartik 2016. Shri Radha and her Manjaris. The first few verses will describe the glories of Vrindavan and then the glories of Radharani's name, because all of these discussions will involve Radha and Krishna and their pastimes with their associates, Sakhis and Manjaris, with the emphasis on the Kinkaris or the Manjaris, who are also aspiring to become someday in perfection in our Siddha Sarup, Manjari Sarup. So this first verse is about the glories of Vrindavan. I wrote a small introduction, I'll just read it. To begin the Kartik classes, we'll start with this verse, number 14, wherein Prabodhananda Saraswati prays to his mind. A lot of devotees are doing a lot of praying to the mind. Like, be quiet, don't say that. So he's praying to the mind to stop all other plans, desiring for enjoyment. The mind is always desiring, obviously, material enjoyment and pleasure. By seeking pleasure, so the mind wants pleasure in the material things, dandavats. But he's telling the mind, listen, you should find pleasure in Vrindavan. And then you can take pleasure in all these loudspeakers and, well, whatever. Which is unique, because here alone, Vrindavan Ishri, Sri Radha lived and played with her eternal beloved Sri Krishna. Braj, then, 5,000 years ago and even today, is filled with memories, moods, and the presence of Radha Govinda Yugal. So this verse, which we'll discuss, 14, it discusses the Vrindavan, and specifically the water and the land, the trees, the vines. They're all special. We're living with these wherever we can find trees and vines and plants in Vrindavan. But they're our neighbors. They're part of the environment. They're the stimulus and the assistance to the Leela. You can put here if you want. Or no, you can put there, the speakers there. They're in that window. Yeah, maybe better, because that's straight. This is going. So in the West we may have plants and trees and vines and whatnot surrounding us in our house, our apartment, or whatever. We live in the country. We say, okay, there's this kind of plant and that kind of plant. But this verse will point out the speciality, this introduction of verse 14, Radha Sura Nidhi. So when we see, if you have time sometimes, these behind me, this is Madhavi Lata, and this makes one of the walls of the Kunja. And they have trees in four corners, and between the trees are latas and flowering bushes. And so this man-made or human person-made this is one wall of a kunj, this construction, and training the Madhavi to fill that whole thing. It's an udipan to remind me of the Kunja Leela, and it also smells very fragrant, Madhavi flower. So we'll hear about that. And they're all special. When we see them, we say, oh, that's a champak tree, that's a Madhavi, that's a kadamba, that's a tamal, that's a neem. All these trees we have here, kadamba tree, and neem tree, and tamal tree. And we think, oh, they're trees, we identify them if we know. But this verse will tell us these trees are special, they're part of the Leela. They're part of the Madhurya Leela. And we're not. We're far, far from Madhurya Leela, but we're aspiring there. So this is, the title of the verse is, Vrindavan is Sri Radha's playground. The particular meter of this verse is described as Vasant Tilak. All these Sanskrit verses, they have different meters. Like in Gita Govinda, they're all different songs and poems. So this one is similar to Brahma Samhita. Radha Kara Vichita Palava Valarike, Radha Padanka Vilasan Madhura Stalike, Radha Yasho Mukara Matta Kagavalike, Radha Vihara Vipane Ramatam Mano Me. Translation. May my mind find happiness and pleasure in the forest of Radha, where the sprouts and vines are touched by the hands of Radha, where the ground, the Vrajabhumi, the earth of Vrindavan, is sweetened by the footprints of Radharani, which you can see when you go in different places in Braj, like Barsana and Sakistali, over near Unchagaon. There's some hills there, and you go up there, and the Tirtha Gurus will show you the footprints of Radharani and Krishna in different places in Barsana and other and also in other places. And then this ground is sweet. Literally speaking, today if you taste the earth of Vrindavan, it tastes salty because there's lots of salt in the earth. So most of the water that when you make a boring, it tastes salty. But this land is sweetened by the footprints of Radharani. That's why as much as possible we try to walk without shoes, especially on Parikrama, because that's an offering. And we may have tender feet and we wear shoes here and there on the coarse streets and cement. But whenever we go on Parikrama, we should go without shoes to honor the land of Vrindavan. So this is the translation. Radharani's name is there, Radharani's hands, Radharani's feet, Radharani's fame, Radharani's pastimes. Radhakara, Radhapada, Radha Yasho, Radha Vihar. Kara means hands. Like we say kartal. So tal means, tal is the beat. 1, 2, 3. That's the tal. And kara means hand. So keeping the beat with the hands. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. But then you take kartals. So kar, tal. That's how a very clever word, kartal. It's an instrument to keep the beat held in your hands. But without the instrument, you can clap your hands. So we're talking about Radhakara, Radhapada, her hands, her feet, her fame, and her bihar. Vraja Vihari. Vihar means her enjoyment, her pastimes. So the forest of Vrindavan is a playground. It's not Radharani doesn't work here. She doesn't live in Barsana and go to work in Vrindavan. Like many people, they live in Mathura or even Radhakund. They go to work in Agra or Delhi by train. So Radharani, she lives in Barsana. That's her Leela Bhumi. That's her playground. She lives in Yavat. Right now, I think she's in Kartik. She's in Yavat. 3 months of the year, Radharani stays with her mother-in-law, and in 3 months she's with her mother, Kirtida and Rishabhanu. So now for October, November, December, January, she'll be in Yavat. And then after that, then she comes for mid-January, Vasant Panchami, January, February, March, Holi, for Holi festival primarily. And she'll be in Barsana, so no problem. So this is a glorification of Vrindavan, and help us appreciate, because we're going to hear about Vrindavan and so many leelas in the kunjas and in the vines, the kunja with Radharani and Krishna. And everything here is connected to Radharani. So this first line is saying, Radha Karavicha Palava Valarike. Like there's a book by Rupa Goswami, Utkalika Valari. Valari means a creeper. Goes around a tree or goes up a house or up a wall. Creepers, like this Madhavi creeper here and these green poles. So the translation says, that first line is telling about, this is one speciality of Vrindavan, is Radha Karavicha Palava Valarike. That Radharani with her hands, she's touched the buds, like sometimes in the spring season, the mango flowers, first they make a bud, leaf bud and a flower bud. So when Radharani sees the mango trees, mango trees, and after the winter time, one of the first flowers to indicate the spring is mango, And mango trees, they are one of the Chinna, Kandarpa Chinna, Kamadev Chinna. They're one of the symbols of Kamadev. the crescent moons, Ardha and the mango blossoms, and the makari, like Krishna wears makara. He wears his dolphin, like shark, they say shark, but it's more like a dolphin, earrings. They're the male, and the female is called makari. So Radharani has sometimes painted on her cheeks, makari. Then, so when it says, they make, many poets, they say, oh, when Radha and Krishna are dancing, it says the makar is enjoying with the makari. Because Krishna's earrings they hang, they're big, they're like shaped like a fish, or like, so they're dancing, and Radharani's cheek and Krishna's earring. This is some sweet imagery. They play makari. So when Radharani sees the mango blossoms, the little first is a blossom, leaf blossom, and a flower blossom. So the flowers, the mango blossoms, they're the symbol of beginning of spring and the symbol of love, or kamadev, desire. Because in spring, all the flowers come, and everyone knows that spring is a romantic time, especially in Vrindavan, Vasant Bihari. So when she sees all the mango blossoms, then she's touching with her hand. So these trees, they seem insignificant. They're immobile living entities. They're not moving. We're sentient and moving, but they're special because they're touched by Radharani. Like the sadhus, in the old days, whenever the sadhus got a place, they made a kunja, and they made some small ashram or whatever. Then mostly kunja everywhere around the ashram, with the meditation or idea that Radha and Krishna will come, or they are coming every night. Because just imagine if you moved into some rich man's estate, and he has many parks there and forests and gardens, and you go there and you set up a tent, and like people, they go camping, and you set up a tent and you're living in there. You're in the middle of the person's garden, but they must be using that garden. They're walking through that garden. They take walks there. They touch the trees. So this whole Vrindavan, we're guests here. They say Videshi, but everyone is a Videshi, because this is the land of Radha and Krishna. So that Radharani, this is her playground. So she's touched. It says the first line, Radha Karavicha Palava Valarike. The buds, Radharani says, oh, mango, you're blossoming. Spring is coming. That means Krishna's mind will really be excited, because in spring Krishna gets so excited about me. So Radharani touches the mango blossom. They're beautiful. Her own fingers are like petal. What do you say? Leaf blossoms. They're very tender and very red, naturally red in the tips. So then this verse is glorifying the speciality of those creepers and vines that are touched by Radharani's hand. And then, so everything here is part of the pleasure of Radha and Krishna, their Madhurya Leela. And the place is important. They say, Kala Desham Patra. Who's involved, what are you doing, and where you're doing what you're doing. Like you want to have a party, you say, let's go to the train station and have a party. Call 5, 10, 15 friends. What kind of party can you have there? It's so noisy, so much commotion, running back and forth, you can't do anything. So you need a setting, a beach or a park or someone's apartment or lawn or yard. There's a setting. So this whole Vrindavan is a setting. And if anyone ever gets land in Vrindavan, they should definitely have the mindset and the sankalpa that I will dedicate this land for the pleasure of Radha and Krishna. I will sleep there, and my friends, whatever, I make some arrangement. But mostly it's for them. So I'll have their favorite trees and their favorite flowers, and juhi and gulab and all these things. That was the idea here, and we hope that it was accepted. So this whole idea of Vrindavan is special, and why is it special? Radha Kara, Radha Pada, Radha Yasho, Radha Bihara. So you can see this book is Radharasa Suranidhi, and we're not wasting any time to get right to the star of these classes. The star of these classes is Radha. So it says, Radha Karavicha Palava Valarike. Palava, the buds, the Valari, Utkalika Valari, creepers, Kara, hand. She touches and she fondles them. But because everything reminds her of Krishna, reminds her of her relationship with Krishna, and vice versa. There are so many verses that describe that. But after Krishna left Vrindavan, it was 50 long years before I met Radharani again. I met Radharani and the gopis in Kurukshetra during a solar eclipse. And there's some beautiful verses in Chaitanya Charitamrita, chapter 13, that explain that although they were meeting there, Radharani, and there may be trees there in Kurukshetra. There wasn't the battle of Kurukshetra. It was a solar eclipse. A battle, I think, was much after that, much later in historical time. The Kurukshetra battle, Kauravas and Pandavas. But when they met there, then it was a natural place, and Radharani didn't feel very good because that's not her place. Vrindavan, in the Puranas, Vrindavan is known as Radha Van. It's the forest of Radha. So she met Krishna, and she was gazing at Krishna, at Jagannath Krishna, because he was in that mood of like the Rath Yatra. He was far away from Vrindavan. So then she said a very nice thing, which Lord Chaitanya, when he was at Rath Yatra, he entered into that whole mood of Radharani, meeting Krishna at Kurukshetra. Gauranga Mahaprabhu is dancing in front of Jagannath, Jai Jagannath, Jai Jagannath, Mahima, Mahima, and dancing in ecstatic Sankirtan. There were 7 parties around the cart. There were 4 parties of Sankirtan party, four different groups with Lord Chaitanya, and 1 on each side, 1 on the back. That's 7. And when Lord Chaitanya went really deep into ecstasy, then all 7 parties would come together in the front of Jagannath's cart. And then there was 32 mridangas and 64 kartals, and it was like thunderous, the lightning like. So that's Jagannath and the Rath Yatra. Now here, when he was dancing, then Lord Chaitanya entered into Mahabhav. This is Krishna. Lord Chaitanya is Krishna, experiencing Radha's bhav. And then he's thinking, oh, this is Jagannath, this is my Krishna. And I'm Radharani, but you're not the same. This big chariot, this big chariot and all this opulence and all this, so many people and elephants and all these things. So then this same mood was spoken there. And we can read those verses. This is from Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Lila, chapter 13. Avashesha Radha Krishna Kare Nivedan Say to me, Sayami, say Navasangam. Mahaprabhu looked at Lord Jagannath sitting on his chariot and he said, you are the same Krishna and I am the same Radharani. We are meeting again in the same way that we met in the beginning of our lives in the bank of the Yamuna at Yamuna Pulin. Says Jagannath Deki Prabhur Bhava Utila. He saw Jagannath, and Lord Chaitanya always saw Jagannath as Sri Krishna of Vrindavan, Shamsundar, Brajendra Nandan. He said, you're the same Krishna, and I'm in this Mahabhav. But he says, you're Radha, you're Krishna. And then she goes on. Tatapi amaraman hare Brindavan, Brindavane udaikaro apanacharan. Although we're both the same, my mind is still attracted to Vrindavan Dham. I wish that you will please again appear with your lotus feet in Vrindavan. Ihan lokaranya hati Ghora Ratadwani Tahan Pushparanya Bringa Pika Narashuni. In Kurukshetra, this is the scene at Kurukshetra when Radharani met Krishna after 50 years of separation. Here there are crowds of people, elephants and horses and the rattling of chariots. But in Vrindavan, there are flower gardens, the buzzing of bees and the chirping of birds can be heard. Ihan, Rajavesha Sange, Saba Kshatriyagan, Tahan Gopavesha Sange, Murali Vadan. Here in Kurukshetra, you're dressed as Rajvesh, as the Maharaj, Dwarkanath, the king of Dwarka. And you're surrounded, Kshatriyagan, oh, so many soldiers, great warriors. But in Vrindavan, Gopavesh, you wear a simple dhoti and chadar and pagari, turban, no heavy gold crown. You just wear a turban, one little peacock feather, some gunjamala. This is what Radharani is seeing. She's in Kurukshetra and looking at Krishna and saying, I'm seeing you like this. Gopavesha Sange Murali Vadan. And to your face you have the Murali. And you call us every night with your Murali. But here you have Gada, club. You have a club, Gada. And you have swords and Arjun with his arrows. Braje Tomara Sangeje Sukha Ashwadan Se Sukha Simudrara Ihan Nahi Eka Khan. In Braje Tomara Sangha, in Braj, in your association, when I was with you in Braj, then Sukha Aswadan, how much happiness, how much bliss we were relishing and tasting, how much an ocean can't compare. Samudra means Sindhu or ocean. Can't compare. And what is that? Ihan. And here, Ihan Nahi Eka Khan. Here in this place, Kurukshetra, Ek means one, Khan means particle, small, Khan, like small. There's not one particle of happiness in Kurukshetra as compared to Vrindavan. Amalana Punalila Karaha Vrindavan Taba Amar Manavansha Hayata Parane. I therefore request you to come to Vrindavan and enjoy pastimes with me. If you do so, my ambition will be fulfilled. So this emphasizes that even though the Nayak and the Nayak are there, the supreme hero and heroine, Radha and Krishna, are together. And they have the Stairati and Madhurarati. They're lovers, they're eternal lovers. So they're so excited to see each other, but still, the place, the people are there, the feelings are there, the hearts are there. They're seeing, they're speaking. But the place is so important. The place is so very important. So his first line is mentioning that, emphasizing this is the Vrindavan. It has these creepers and has these sprouts. So I mention here that Vrindavan, I said Radharani means Vrindavan and Vrindavan means Radharani. So Radharani plus Vrindavan, Radharani plus Vrindavan equals Leela Purushottam Sri Krishna. You can't separate. You need Krishna, you need Radha, and you need Vrindavan. That's why the Padma Puran says Vrindavanam Prityaja Paramekam Nagachati. This Vrindavan, Radha and Krishna, Paramekam, one step, they don't take one step out of Vrindavan. It's not possible. No one would let them. How is it that we're standing in front of some favorite Thakurji? Radha Gopinath, Radha Raman, Radha Shamsundar, Banki Bihari, Laralaji and Barsana, whomever your favorite Thakurji. How is it we're looking at them, taking darshan, and we're feeling that they're really there, and they're really looking at us, because they are. Radha and Krishna are really here, and they're most obviously there in their deity forms, in their murti forms. So this is Vrindavan. In the 10th canto of Bhagavatam, in chapter 30, the gopis were separated from Krishna during the rasa dance, so they were looking for him. And they were going around and they were speaking to the trees and to the land and to Tulsi plant. They were saying, oh, have you seen Krishna as he passed by here? So there's a very nice, the gopis are describing how the creepers, oh, creepers. It seems, because if you look at these small latas or creepers on their vines, their stems, there's little tiny hairs, like on a human body there's hairs or whatever. So there's little tiny hairs. So the gopis they touch those creepers and they see the hairs standing on end. They say, "Oh, Krishna, you must be in ecstasy. Krishna must have walked by here and touched you with his hands. So therefore your hairs on your body are standing erect." Romancha kampa ashru. These are symptoms of sattvic vikara, transformations due to intense bliss or happiness. So they say there that they say latakara ja sprishta. This is in the Sanskrit. Latakara ja sprishta. It says, "Oh, Krishna must have touched you with his hands, and that's why you're feeling so ecstatic. So can you please show us where is Krishna so we can touch him with our hands and he can touch us with his hands also, and we will also feel ecstatic like you creepers do." So in Braj there's a famous bhajan, it was famous years ago. Braj ke lata patabi bole Shri Radha Radha Nidhiban me bolo Nidhiban me bandur bolo Shri Radha Radha. That's one of the funniest lines. Nidhiban me bandur bole Shri Radha Radha. So that particular line of bhajan says, in Nidhiban, the monkeys, bandur, are chanting Shri Radha, Shri Radha, as they steal your shoes, and they steal your glasses, and they steal your camera. Radha, Radha, Shri Radha. At least that's what the bhajan says. You may hear something else or see something else when you go to Nidhiban. So this is the latas of Vrindavan. Braj ke lata patabi bole Shri Radha Radha. Radha Radha Radha. Everywhere in Vrindavan everything is Radha. You can see that Prabodhananda Saraswati, he lived in Vrindavan for 20, 30 years. He wrote this book in Vrindavan, and he wrote another book in Vrindavan, Vrindavan Mahimamritam. And these books are the byproducts of his bhav and his prem, his experiences, direct experiences of Radha and Krishna. So you can see in this verse, he's simply, basically this verse is simply saying, Radha, 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 Radha. He's saying, Radha Karavicha Palava Balarike, Radha Patanka Vilasan, Radha Yasho. Radha, like you have some examination, you take an examination, fantastic means, and then there's 4 selections, A, B, C, D. The word fantastic means, then amazing, or whatever, then there's A, B, C selection. So Radha is, and then you fill in the blanks. Thousands and these rasa janas, these advanced devotees, you just say, I'll give you 2 words. Now you fill it in. Radha is. And then they'll write whole books. Radha is this, Radha is that, Radha is that. This is the madness of prem, that the Sakhis and Manjaris and everyone in Vrindavan is mad about Radharani. And who's the maddest? Because we're all chanting Radharani because she's Karunamayi. We want her mercy. We want to serve Radharani. And serving Radharani means serving Krishna and serving them together. So automatically Krishna's service is included by chanting Radhe Radhe. But what does Radharani chant? Does Radharani chant Radhe Radhe? No. She chants Krishna, 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 Krishna. Mahaprabhu is Krishna and Radha Bhav. So when he's touring South India, he's everywhere, Krishna, Krishna Kotai, Krishna Kotai. Where is my Krishna? Where is my Prananath? Mera Prananath Kotai. So Radharani is chanting Krishna. We're not chanting Krishna, we're chanting Radhe. Brijvasis are all chanting Radhe Radhe. They will serve Krishna, they do serve Krishna, they do love Krishna, they do read about Krishna. But as far as crying out or calling out, oh, Prabhu, Krishna, Krishna, Jai Krishna. I mean, these are Brijvasis. I mean, there are also the Vallabhacharya's followers, he has many disciples in Vrindavan, and they may greet each other, Jai Sri Krishna. But remember, the first word they say is Radharani, because Shri is Radharani. So they're chanting Yugalna, and they say, Jai Sri Krishna. They may think that they may have the idea or the bhav that they're remembering Gopal Nathji, who is their Ishta Devata, of their sampradaya. Gopalnathji, who is Purushottam, Leela Purushottam, Sri Krishna. But he's called Sri Gopalnathji. Jai Sri Krishna. So this is the first line. Radha Kara Vicha Palava Balarike. There's in the purport, there's a Leela behind this verse, so we'll just share that with you. I just wrote it here. I kind of rewrote it. By the mercy of Vrindavan, this is a very interesting phrase. By the mercy of Vrindavan, this land, this Vrindavan, why do people come here? Oh, we have to tolerate so much when you're a foreign person, you're coming from somewhere like Germany or Switzerland or anywhere, coming from anywhere. And anywhere is fairly clean and organized and respectful, and there's some etiquette and social decorum. It's not wild. But when you come to Vrindavan, it's wild. As I say, I call Vrindavan raw humanity. This is raw humanity. Humanity without any trappings, without any covers, you know. There's no Amy Vanderbilt over here. Amy Vanderbilt's Book of Manners has been banned 100,000 years ago. So anyone who's lived here for a while or visited regularly, they become veterans, they become tough Brijvasis. So I see many of your faces are very familiar, so you're either living here a long time or basically live here all the time, even if you go over somewhere else for a while. So you wouldn't come back unless you were tough, unless you were enchanted, unless you were hypnotized, unless you were drugged, or unless you were mad. So maybe something of all these things. You were hypnotized, you were enchanted, and you're a little mad also. I think you look a little mad. There's a little, everyone I see, some little madness in your eye. You see in my... So this is, I remember when I was young, long ago, and young people would greet each other hitchhiking, we'd go, this was what we would do then, like this. That meant peace, brother. Now people go backwards, they go like this, or they go like this, they take selfie pictures, they go, the fingers are like this, no? So you have to change. I don't know if you know this. Maybe you're so Krishna conscious, you don't know what's going on. But I have some young friends and stuff. So they when they take pictures, they go. At least India, I don't know about West. But is that right? This is like of the young folks. I guess she's young, but the young people they have a mudra. This is a mudra for the young people. The hip people they go like they have different ones. I don't know because I'm an old man, So I'm out of it, I'm square. But they go like this, or it kind of just hangs like this. They don't go like this side, because they don't have any energy. And at least before we go, like we had enough energy to raise our hands, and say, "All right, brother, peace, brother." This is about peace, brother. And here people go, just go like this. They're too tired, life's too hard. They just go like. Anyway. I love it. Every generation has their beautiful, beautiful chinna, their marks and symbols, their music, their dress, their culture, their way, and that's what makes things beautiful. It's variety. It's their opulence of their group, and they have the adhikar. Those that are young, that's their adhikar to be there. So this is the Leela. So somehow, by the mercy of Vrindavan. Because Vrindavan is so merciful. And everyone, there's verses, so many verses in Puranas glorifying Vrindavan. It says it sins elsewhere. If you commit sins elsewhere, means outside of Vrindavan, those sins, you'll have to pay for those sins. You'll get a reaction. You'll have to pay for those sins by going to hell. Or suffering heavily in your next life. But any sins committed in Vrindavan are resolved in Vrindavan itself. You're resolved and you're absolved. So you make some heavy sin or whatever, then you'll get the punishment right here, right now in Vrindavan, coming at you. Ta! So this is because in other places, because the mother loves you like anything. And sometimes she loves you so much she cracks you, she gives you a slap to reprimand you. But after she slaps you, her love grows because you generally respond in a positive way. Because she's slapping you to reform your character, or reform your behavior, or attitude, or whatever. So then you grow in newer and better ways after the interaction with your mother. So there's verses in the Radha Suranidhi, to compare Vrindavan to a mother, Vrindatavi. Vrindavan's like a mother. So being like a mother, she's very merciful, and she's very compassionate, and very forgiving. Always giving and always forgiving. It's a very extraordinary quality. This is the quality of true love. The quality of true love is always giving and always forgiving. So this is the nature of Brajadam. And everything's personal. Vrindavan is Radharani and Krishna. You can't separate. So by the mercy of Vrindavan, Prabodhananda Saraswati gets an internal vision. The term is called Sporti, of Radha Govinda's Madhurya Leela. Radharani is picking flowers to decorate Krishna. As soon as Radharani touches the creepers, they automatically blossom with flowers. That's very nice. Mystic power, mystic cities. I remember when I grew up, they had all these science fiction movies and stuff. And I always thought, well, when I grow up, I'd like to have the power, if I just touch someone, they can disappear. Like ray gun type of thing, they evaporate or whatever. So then I thought it'd be so nice if someone you don't like, you just talk. Little kids have funny ideas sometimes. So that when Radharani would touch the plants, they would, that's what this verse is saying. Radha kara avachita. When she would touch with her hands, they would bloom from the touch of Radharani's hands. Radha kara vachita. The valaries, the vines would horripilate. They would tremble with their sprouts and smile with their flowers. The flowers, oftentimes this analogy is used in describing the environment of Vrindavan, that the flowers are smiling. When Prabhupada was in a garden once, he was visiting in a garden in one temple in the West, and they took him to a flower garden, showed him so many roses and whatnot. And he pointed to the flowers and said, these are the smiles, these are Krishna's smiles. Flowers represent Krishna's smiles. So I always remember that when we did pujari work, lots of flowers, this is all Krishna's smiles. So when Radharani touches the vines, they produce flowers, and they cry from the touch because it's like ecstatic. They're in bliss. They're touched by Radharani. So how do we cry with our tears when we're happy or we're sad. And the creepers, they cry, and the creepers, they cry with the nectar in their flowers starts dripping out and down their vines. The nectar we call the honey. Eventually it becomes what we call honey. But in the flower, it's a very watery substance called nectar. Madhurika. Not Madhurika. I forget the name, something like that. So then when Vishaka sees this, when Radharani touches the vine, then she jokes with Radharani, because she's expert in joking. Hey, Sakhi Radha, be careful. Sakhi Savadan. You're touching those flowers. But there's a greedy bumblebee, a lobi Madhusudan, and he's buzzing over here around these flowers, and he wants to drink the honey from your moon-like face. So be careful. She's right. Vishaka is reminding her. And Radharani says, Sakhi, if my face resembles the moon, but the moon has no fragrance, so why in the world would that Madhusudan bee, who's looking for fragrant flowers, be attracted to me, who has a moon face? So this is just, back and forth joking, because she's saying, oh, your Madhusudan's going to drink the honey from your moon-like face. And she says, okay, but he's a bee. Madhusudan means a bee. Sudan means nectar. Madhu means honey. It's a name for Krishna, a name for honeybee. So he's going to drink the nectar. So you would think that Vishaka would have said, that Madhusudana is going to drink the nectar from the flower of your face. But she didn't. She said, the moon of your face, Chandramukhi Radha. So Radharani said, hey, look, you said I have a moon-like face, so what's the point? He said, anyway, he'll come. So this is the first line. The Radharani is touching these vines, and that's why they're special. So hearing about this is to expand our appreciation of the environment that we're living in. Because they have a phrase in English, familiarity breeds contempt. We have to always be reminded. So as a beginner for the classes about Braj Leela and the Radharani and the Manjari Sevas, we want to hear about the uniqueness of the environment of Vrindavan, the passive players, the quiet passive players in the Leelas of Radha and Krishna, the plants. We can't say that there are some players in Krishna's Leela that are not quiet and are not passive, if you know what I mean. Like monkeys, they're not very quiet, and so many dogs. They're all part of Krishna's Leela in Vrindavan. But now we're not going to be glorifying them. I don't really ever see too many glorifications of them, but I do see glorifications of trees and flowers and vines and the land. But somehow, although they were there 5,000 years ago, there were monkeys and all these things. And Krishna fed them, but they're not too much glorified in Sanskrit poetries. Radha kara vachita palava valarike. So this is the first line of the shloka. This is splendid. So we don't want to be familiar or be contemptuous with Vrindavan. Always remember, these vines. So wherever we go, we visit so many Leela Stalis. We should increase our absorption and our thinking, because all of our senses, our working senses and our knowledge acquiring senses, they're all connected to the mind. There's 10 Gyanendriya and 10 Karmendriya. And 5 Karmendriya and 5 Gyanendriya. The 10 senses are connected to the mind. So all of those senses should contact Krishna with memories, thoughts, names, verses, shlokas, leelas, contacting our 10 senses, and that should be fed to our mind. And that purifies our mind, and then that changes the position and nature of our hearts. Our hearts become softened. For example, in relation to this verse, of course we'll get to that later, because that's part of later discussion. I'll do the second line, and then in the remainder of the class. Second line is Radha padanka vilasan madhura stalike. So this second line, this is madhura stalike. Stali, like you've heard this term, Leela Stali. So this is madhura stalike, vilasan. Vilas means that Radharani's pada anka. Padanka means her feet and her toenails. Anka means the toenails. Radharani's feet are moving through all these beautiful Leela Stalis, all these very sweet and beautiful Leela Stalis. And she's making them sweet. It says that the ground, what happens? The ground is sweetened by Radha's footprints. So when Radharani is going to these different places, the Madhurya Leela places, like the Rasa Stali, like tonight is, well actually last night was the full moon, but tonight is also the Rasa Leela. So when Radharani is moving, when we're visiting also, but she's going to Rasa Stali and the Yoga Pit at Govinda Stali, Julan Stali, all these beautiful jewel-like places. They're all like jewels. Each Leela Stali is like a separate jewel on a necklace of Braj. This is the analogy used in the Tika. And Radharani's feet are moving from one Leela Stali. She's moving from Yavat, and then she's coming to Govardhan. So Radharani's feet and movement is like the string. And when you put flowers when you make a mala, you put this needle and you put through on the string. And you put the string through one flower, another flower. So Radharani's feet are the string that's connecting all the Leela Stalis together. Each Leela Stali is like one flower. There's Yavat, that's one flower. Then Radharani comes to Govardhan, another flower, then Radhakund. So that's the analogy that's used in the purport. It's very beautiful. To describe the second line, Radha Padanka Vilasan Madhuras Talike, the Radha's Pada, Radha Pada. She's having vilas and all these sweet Madhur is sweet pastime places in Vrindavan. She's always enjoying amorous pastimes, vilas, with her Priyatam Sham. And all these Madhura Leela Stalis are adorned with the beautiful footprints of Radha, Radha Padanka. So we go to these places and we see and we visit somewhere. That's why we roll in the dust. Why do we roll in the dust? Because we want our hearts to become sweetened by the sweet dust of Vrindavan. How did the dust of Vrindavan become sweet? It became sweet, and it becomes sweet, and it's always becoming sweeter by the constant contact of the lotus feet of Radharani. So the ground is sweetened by the feet of Radharani. Radha Padanka Vilasan Madhuras Talike. So this is, there's some chairs there in the bottom, you can sit there, maybe. So now this is, it's about it for today, because we have a class to go to at 4 o'clock, and you may have classes also. So there's a few minutes left to get to the next class. There's another class about 5 minutes from here. Our class is 3 to 4, and then there's other classes. I go to class. So this is a very beautiful verse. This is our first verse of Radharasurinidhi, verse 14. Radha Karavachita Palava Valarike Radha Padanka Vilasan Madhura Stalike Radha Yasho Mukaramatta Kagavalike Radha Vihara Vipane Ramatam Manome. So in his ecstasy of Radha Bhav and Kinkari Bhav, Prabhupada Saraswati is Radha Kara, Radha Pada, Yada Yasha, Yada Yash, Radha Vihar. He's absorbed. Radharani's hands, Radharani's feet, Radharani's fame, and Radharani's vilas. Actually, it's almost a sequence. Radharani's hands, and then her feet. When her hands and her feet, that's the whole body. Hands and feet together, it becomes yash, it becomes very famous. Famous for what? For Madhurya Leelas. So that's why it says, Radha Vihara Vipane Ramatam Manome. So this will end on this. We'll continue tomorrow on verse 14. Jai Jai Shri Radhe. George say, Jai Jai Shri Radhe. Jai Jai Shri Radhe. I pray that everyone's Kartik, Brata, and pujas and prayers and crying and hearing and chanting and suffering and everything that happens, colds and headaches and fevers and everything that's going to come in this month. I pray that it all brings everyone very close to Radharani and close to Krishna. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha.